Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, Tomcat Stitchery. I'm Whitney and today I have part 3 of this planning a module series that I've been doing, which is really technically the last of the parts. I am going to go ahead and this is all kind of culminating in the plans for my first module 1 for my summer wardrobe, but this is kind of it on the whole actual planning. You're just going to kind of see the culmination in the next video on Tuesday. But anyway, today we are going to talk about picking a color story and fabric. I've had a lot of questions on how to buy coordinating fabrics online, or even just people having issues with putting fabrics together and trying to decide, you know, how to make a module work, kind of. So I'm going to give you some tips and tricks about that today, and yeah, so then hopefully you'll be able to put together the silhouettes that you've picked out from the first video that then translated into patterns, and then once you've got your patterns, you can determine the substrates that you're shopping for. You know, are you looking for something drapey like a rayon, looking for, you know, a couple of bottom weights, you know, like a cotton twill, or even something with stretch, you know, like a stretch woven for your bottoms, or maybe a rayon, you know, if you're wanting a flowy skirt or a flowy pair of palazzo pants, whatever, you'll kind of know, or a lot of knits, maybe you're sewing with a lot of knits. That way you know exactly kind of what you're looking for, and it'll help narrow it down quite a bit, especially if you're shopping online, where it can become quite overwhelming quite quickly. Okay, let's talk about color first, and then we'll start to get into actually picking fabrics for your capsule. So I had, oh, hold on, let me grab, I thought I had everything here. I don't, hold on. Okay, sorry. So a couple of years ago now, I had my colors done. Now, this gal did not do it as, you know, you're a summer, you're a winter, you're a fall, spring, whatever. Although looking back, I am a summer. I think I said once I was a spring and I just kind of had forgotten. It had been so long since I played around with that. I am a summer. Quite a few of you are like, are you sure you're not a summer? I am. I'm cool. I definitely have cool undertones, like very cool undertones. And this isn't working right here. And I, you know, have the lighter, low contrast, light eyes, light hair. I'm definitely a summer. So sorry, I was just confused. Good gracious. Okay. Anyway, I had my colors professionally done. Again, she did not categorize it that way. I literally sat there without any makeup on in my living room, and she held up like some ridiculous, it was like 2 hours she was here holding up colors to my face, and then she compiled this swatches, basically, where it goes from the darker to the very lighter, you know, depending on kind of what time of year, what you're kind of in the mood for, colors. At the beginning, she's got, you know, like, these are all the colors that are in my eyes. These are all the colors that are in my skin tone, which are very pink. These are the colors that are in my hair. And then these are all of my blush colors. So these are the colors, you know, like just the colors of my veins, the colors of, not my veins, but, you know, like your natural, like, pinkness in your cheeks, or the colors of your lips, the insides of your ears, just anything if you're not wearing makeup, kind of your red undertones. So there you have it. That is me in a nutshell. And then it's all of my colors, because she even went as far as to talk about, you know, textures and stuff that I should be wearing, but that is everything. So if you are interested in doing something like this, Christy Russell, that I talk about all the time, does have, she's the YouTuber, the stylist YouTuber. She does do a online color consultation. It's $175, although I pay quite a bit more for this, but you can actually get either print-offs that you can print off, or there's an option you could purchase the fabric swatch guide if you'd like as well. So I'm going to leave a link to that service down below if you're interested in something like that. But you know, let's talk about color a little bit. I feel like most people kind of know what they like, what they feel good in. You find yourself drawn to certain colors, and a lot of times those are the colors that you may just look a little bit better in. But again, if you love a color, if you love citron green and it's not one of your colors, wear citron green. Like, that's just, You know, again, beauty all comes from within. It is, without sounding too cliche, it is, you know, it's the confidence that you have inside of you that creates the beauty on the outside. So don't get too hung up on colors. Now this is very handy, although I don't pull this out as much as I used to, just because I kind of know what I like and what compliments me. I was really looking more if there were some surprises, you know, some colors that maybe I just didn't try for whatever reason, or some that I was wearing that maybe I wasn't aware of how they appeared. Again, taking pictures of yourself in certain outfits can definitely help dispel any myths that you have about your own coloring or what you think you looks good or what doesn't. But that's kind of the reason that I did the whole color analysis to begin with. And I was surprised that there was so much green on here and purple, which were colors that I didn't really wear a lot of before. And also I've talked before about blush pink and how I can do some pinks, but not all pinks are correct. And some blush pinks just are a nude for me. So anyway, you can definitely do that. Go into the color analysis. But again, you don't need to make it super complicated. Just what are some colors you love? What feels good? I am going to pop a link below. There is a color wheel on canva.com that is just really fun to play around with. So for instance, my spring capsule, it was a blue, yellow, and white capsule. I don't have any fabric in there that has all of those colors in there. I was just going off color combinations that I really love. But I know that some people struggle with that, like putting color combinations together. So on this color wheel, you can pick any color. I mean, it's one of those where you can just click anywhere in the actual color wheel and come up with pretty much any color, and they all have the Pantone numbers. I guess it's Pantone. It's their actual, like, code numbers. Hold on one second.
Jack,
Summer, my
please.
children are home. So it has the actual code for those colors. So if you, let's say you've got an aqua that you just love, you can kind of click around in that area until you find something that's similar to that color. It doesn't have to be perfect, just something that's similar. Then there's a drop-down menu where you can choose monochromatic. If you want a whole aqua monochromatic look, it'll pull up the color, the second color that comes up to make that monochromatic, which really, if you're looking at a paint swatch, monochromatic would be using all those colors, you know, as it goes from lighter to darker. It's kind of the same family, you're just making it darker. So you can choose that. You can choose complementary, and it will show you the color that is complementary of that certain color, which, you know, yellow is complementary to blue on the color wheel. But, you know, if you're wanting aqua, like, is that yellow more of a lemon yellow or is it more of a marigold yellow? And it will, you know, you can choose analogous. Can't remember now how to pronounce the word, but it's basically, you know, red, orange, and yellow are all right there together. So that is the three colors that are just kind of right there. But again, if you've got an aqua, how that plays out, how it, you know, if you're wanting, oh, I can't even think of the terms off the top of my head, but it's the 3 points or 4 points. Anyway, it's just really fun to play around with. So I'll leave a link down to that below. It's free. You can just get on and kind of play around with color. But that's a great way to try and put together some, a color scheme basically for your wardrobe. I also want to say, I find it very helpful if you can pinpoint the neutrals, and I use that term loosely as well, because a lot of times I'll wear a pale blue as a neutral. But you know, your standard neutrals, if you can pinpoint a few, like maybe 2 that you typically wear more in the summer and a couple that you wear more in the winter, that can really help just to make your entire closet cohesive. Again, I don't wear a ton of neutrals, but I'm sure you've noticed now, navy is definitely one neutral that I love to wear. I love to wear white, but not stark white. It's more of a creamier white, more of a winter white that I'm kind of drawn to. My white jeans are actually not a real blue white, bright white. They're more of a, or an optic white. They're more of a, I have a little bit warmer undertones, not cream, but a little creamier. And then I'm also drawn to gray and camel. So those are the, which camel can kind of go into the browns a little bit. I'm the cooler browns. Now camel is definitely warmer, but I wear it in my hair. But yes, those are kind of my 4. I don't wear black ever. It's just not, it's too stark on me. And I don't wear a ton of dark gray, honestly. I have some, but again, I prefer navy. I prefer to go cooler in that. So it's helpful to have a couple, you know, like 4 or whatever of neutrals that you tend to drawn to. And just to have those be the anchors in your wardrobe. Again, you don't need to have a lot of pieces of those, but you know, if you have 1 pair of pants or whatever that are in there, just to kind of help ground that and kind of help make it cohesive throughout your entire closet, you know, if you have multiple modules in there. All right. The other thing that I was going to say, oh, sorry, Gidget. No, that was it. Okay, with the neutrals. Okay, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. I had the kid hitting the ball on the walls kind of distracting me a little bit. All right, so another way, that is definitely one way that you can build a color story. I maybe have mentioned before, but if you want to look at home decor magazines, you know, like HGTV has a magazine or something where they've got a room and they've got the paint chips there that they've used for a room. That's a fantastic way to pinpoint color stories that you're kind of drawn to, and it gives you an idea of colors that go together, and you can kind of fabric shop based off that as well. So yes, that was another tip. All right, if you were just stuck with, I don't know how to put colors together, one thing that I recommend, we're gonna start with first buying fabric in stores, then buying fabric online, and then I'm gonna talk about shopping your stash or how you even buy pieces for your stash. So, number 1. All right, let's say you're just having a really hard time putting together a color story. These fabrics, let me just grab these all. Large chunk here. These fabrics are all from Joann's. So this is an example of buying fabric in a fabric store and buying everything all at once. But this is very easy to do in any of the ways. So my suggestion is to find a print that you love, that you just love the colors in, and here's an example. This is from Joann's. I love this crinkle rayon. I showed this in my Joann's haul, but it's got these couple different shades of pink in here, like a denim-y blue, and then the light blue, and there's even some green, like a olive green that runs through there. So you could go many different directions with this. You could do a navy, you could, you know, again, pulling in your neutrals. So even though there's no navy in this, a navy or a white would be beautiful with this. So those could be the 2 neutrals that I choose for that capsule. Olive green actually could be a neutral too, if that's something that you really enjoy, or it could just be a pop of color. So, you know, again, with this one, I could make this a pink and green module that has a little bit of navy and white in it, and just pulling out the pinks and the greens that are in that fabric. I could make this more of a red and blue, and you could do navy and this lighter baby blue if you wanted to. But yeah, pull from a fabric. You know, these companies spend thousands and billions of dollars having professionals that put these color schemes together. So that is a recommendation, and how to pull colors for your module. Now with this, so this is from Joann's, and a lot of designer fabric lines, or even stores, will have collections that they release, and it'll be a whole bunch maybe different substrates in a certain collection. You know, some of the more design, you know, like Atelier Brunette, that's kind of expensive fabric, but they'll have like a double gauze, they'll have, that's kind of their big thing, but they have a couple of other substrates that are all being like a certain color story for this season or whatever. That's a great way. A lot of times they'll even have solids that coordinate with that, and you can just buy an entire module based off that collection that was released. The same thing at Joann's, for instance. So this was their Americana collection. So I was able to buy this fabric that I loved, and this was kind of that spurred me on. Again, when you're fabric shopping, obviously, you can carry the fabrics around and look at them and how they compare with other fabrics. That's probably the easiest way to create a module, is to be at a fabric store and be able to buy everything at once. You know, but that's not always possible. But this time, yes, I wanted to use white and navy. So I was able to pick up, this is a white eyelet, and you guys have seen that in that Joann's haul. But they also had the solids. And again, this is not a perfect match. I want to talk about that too. This is not a perfect match, but this is in the same collection. And the reason it's not a perfect match is because this is a brushed cotton, bottom weight stretch, and this is a crinkle rayon. The same color is actually going to look different on different substrates. So it's the same family, and I would wear those together, but they do not match perfectly, and that is absolutely okay. But that is the blue that goes with that collection. And then I also bought the brushed cotton more recently in the red that goes with that for like a pair of shorts. So now you know, you're able to find fabrics. So again, buying in a collection, and you can do that online as well. Even if, you know, if you don't have a Joann's close to you, you can shop online at Joann's and have it delivered. Or any of the other Minerva Crafts, which I'm actually gonna talk about that a little bit. They're a UK fabric company, and again, or even the smaller ones that, you know, will sell a certain designer collection where you can just shop from that collection. So that's a very easy way to pull stuff for your modules. And again, you've already picked your fabrics, so you know I need a couple of different rayons. I need, you know, a couple of different bottom weight cotton twills, whatever. You should be able to do that. Something else I want to talk about. When you're pulling fabrics for your modules, they don't all have to match. This is in the same collection, and where you can see the colors, how they kind of talk to one another there. I mean, you're not going to wear those together. This is probably actually going to be a one piece. It might be a top, but it'll probably be a one piece. Well, I'll never wear it with this top, even though they're in the same module. So you can think about that as well. Here's another option. I have this red knit that I bought at Joann's, and I love it with this collection, but I don't love it with that red. See, they're two different reds. And that could have easily, you know, if I'd purchased this even online, thinking, oh, those are probably similar, because they're both a little cooler reds. They've got blue in them, especially this one. But, you know, this could be a dress that's never worn with those shorts. So it's okay, as long as I like that color with what it's gonna be worn with. In this case, if this is a dress, it's gonna be worn with the topper, and that's pretty much it. Whereas these shorts here, I just want to make sure the tops all look good with that. So that's the thing. Think about what you're buying, and is it important that those match exactly? Are they ever going to be worn together? Or are they just part of the module that, you know, it may not make a difference? For instance, if you've got two bottoms, you know, your bottoms don't have to go together. If you have a print and a solid, if they don't match exactly, that's fine. You're not going to be wearing the bottoms at the same time. Just as long as your topper and your tops, you're pleased with those color combinations, that's all you gotta worry about. And again, you do not have to match things perfectly. It is absolutely okay if they are just in the same color family. So that's what we're going to talk about online shopping. And I think that that's it for this stack of fabric. Yeah, that's all stuff. Yeah, so obviously it's easiest if you go into a fabric store and you're able to put all the fabrics together in that instance. But I totally understand that that's not possible most of the time. So shopping online, again, and you guys saw all this stuff in my Minerva Crafts haul. So much fabric at my feet right now. But I picked this knit here to be kind of what my whole module was based on, okay? So I am pulling colors out of this. And again, I was just looking at this on a computer screen. I was not, did not get to see any of this before I picked the coordinating fabrics. But I'm basically just looking for, you know, pink is a little bit in here. So I just need something that's close to that, because it's not going to be, well, number one, I got to think, how am I going to be wearing this? Is this going to be a top? Am I going to be wearing this with a pair of bottoms? Or is it going to be a dress where it just needs to match the topper? So, you know, think through all of that. But you know, you can choose a lot of different shades of pink that are going to go with this, because there's a lot of different shades of pink in this fabric. The same with the blues and the greens. You don't have to be spot on. In fact, I even showed, and I wasn't thinking that these would match exactly, but this is the dusty pink or dusty rose, I think, bottoms, and then the pink and white stripe. I'm not sure that I'm crazy about those two colors together. This is just a little warmer than this pink. Like they aren't saying that they're this close tone to me. So this is probably going to become the one piece in that module, and that's fine. You know, you can shop that way. You can definitely get swatches and that kind of thing from fabric companies to make sure everything is, you know, a-okay, but I don't, because things typically will sell out before I get a chance to get the swatch and then buy the actual yardage. But this, for instance, was called mint green, and it definitely goes a little aqua, I think. But I love it with this mint green, and they do not match. Now this is heathered, so there's a lot of colors in this, but I love those together. They're the same tone, and those say yes. Again, I will not be, this will be a top and this will probably be a top, so they're not gonna get worn together, but this will get worn with it because this is my topper fabric. Again, it's heathered. These are not the same color at all, but because it's heathered, there's some of the aqua in there and they're the same tone, and that can definitely work. I actually really love those together. So those are some things to think through. All right, and again, shopping online, while it's gonna be hard to see colors and that sort of thing on the computer, you know, if you're looking at all the, put everything in your cart, and a lot of times they'll have a picture of the fabric in your cart where you can just kind of look at everything together to determine that, yeah, I think that's gonna work. And if you have one that maybe doesn't, that, you know, like my pinks that I knew probably were two different colors, although again, they're gonna work in the same module because they're not gonna be worn together. But if you get that and they were supposed to be worn together, stick it in your stash. It's okay. These are all colors you love, and it's gonna, you know, be used for something else. And just hang on to that. I'm a big proponent of keeping somewhat of a stash, which I realize is also a problem that I have, a little bit of a sickness, which I think I'm not alone in this community. But let's talk about stashes a little bit. I think that if you are out fabric shopping, for instance, especially if you're taking advantage of some sales, now again, having some self-control in any situation is definitely preferable. But I'm definitely a lot more reserved than I used to be. But just be smart about your purchases. You know, even if you don't have your colors done, maybe just go to the section in Lowe's or Home Depot or wherever they sell paint and pick some paint swatches that you kind of like, that kind of make up your own color story, kind of. And you can just put those on a little key ring and carry them around with you and make your own little color palette. But make it just more of a reminder of, you know, if you're at a store and you see, let's say you see a gorgeous print and it's reds and bright blues and bright greens and bright yellow and it's just beautiful rainbow floral, for instance. Well, think about it. Do I wear those colors? No. I don't wear a lot of bright red, although I did just buy some red here. But, you know, and I don't wear, my colors are a little more dimmed than what I wear. And while I can appreciate the fact that it's a gorgeous fabric, I'm not going to take that one home because it's not one that's going to work with anything else in my stash or my future capsules, for instance. Again, I said I don't wear the color black. So I never look at fabrics that have like a black background or that are, you know, have a lot of black in them. I mean, I do buy some things that might have a little bit of black in them, but for the most part, anything that is primarily black or like a black and white stripe or check or whatever, I don't buy it for me. Now, I may pick up something like that for my mom because my mom does wear black, but I don't. So, you know, I just steer clear of those kind of things. So that's very smart. You know, shop smart. Shop things that you know you would wear. Go through your closet. Do you wear a lot of print? Is your print typically large florals or smaller florals? Do you wear stripes or do you hate stripes? You know, make a note of all that stuff so that you don't waste your money on fabric later on down the road just because it struck your eye and you thought it was pretty, which is so easy to do in a fabric store, especially if there's sales going on where you're like, oh, it's just such a good deal. You know, it's not a good deal if it's not going to get worn. So just be smart about that. Have a list of, you know, I don't like to wear polyester. I hardly ever wear polyester. Very rarely do I wear polyester. So I just stay clear of those fabrics when I'm in a fabric store. And that also helps with that that overwhelming feeling you get when you're in a big fabric store where you're like, oh my gosh, so much to see and do. Well, if you can cut out certain sections, it makes it much more manageable to actually look and see what's in stock and what you might actually wear. So, you know, don't get sucked into the deal. Shop smart. Have a list of things that you do like. Do you wear a lot of solids? Then maybe, yeah, buy solids and in your colors. And again, it doesn't have to be a perfect match. Even pairing two solids together doesn't have to be a perfect match. You can go for a monochromatic look as long as it's in the same tone and same color family and you're fine. You know, navies don't necessarily have to match. Now, you don't want a cool navy and a warm navy, which there is such a thing. You don't want maybe those together. Like that wouldn't be the same tonally. But if you have a darker navy and one that maybe goes a little more blue, but they're both cool navies, yes, you can definitely put those together. That's okay that they don't match perfectly. All right, so shopping for your stash. Number one, building a module off things in your stash. And once you have a stash, if you've shopped smart, your stash, you should be able to shop from your stash pretty quickly and pretty easily. And I find that that's probably the case with most of my fabrics. I just did everything, rolled them so that I could see everything much easier. And yeah, everything definitely tells a color story on the colors that I like to wear. Not everything goes with everything else, but that's okay. I want a cohesive closet, not necessarily one that everything can go with everything else. So people have asked me before though, when I am buying fabric and I don't know what I'm going to use it for, how much do I buy? I typically have an idea of what I want a fabric to be, even if I don't know the pattern. For instance, if I see a fabric, I know, ooh, I want that to be a skirt, or this would make a gorgeous jacket, or, you know, this would, great t-shirt, or I think this would be an actually really cute knit dress. I kind of know the typical outfit. So with that being said, I usually buy 3 yards or meters. I'm going to use those interchangeably because, you know, depending on where I'm shopping, I kind of use those together. But I can get most dress patterns out of 3 yards or 3 meters of fabric. Now, of course, there's some exceptions to the rule, and usually with those, I'll just have to buy fabric specifically for that pattern. I don't worry about, you know, keeping 5 yards of something in my stash, unless it was a really good deal and I think, oh, I could, you know, make a lot of things out of this. So yeah, 3 yards for dresses, 2.5, 2 to 2.5, depending on width, for a button-down shirt or a blouse. 2 yards typically for skirts, and 2 to 2.5 yards or meters for a jacket. Sometimes I'll err on the side of 2.5. I can usually get a blazer though out of 2 yards of fabric or 2 meters of fabric. For t-shirts, it's 1.5 yards. For pants, it's 1.5 yards. I've got short legs. It may be different for you. You may want to do 2 if you have longer legs. Cardigans will usually be 2. Camisoles I can get out of 1. Shorts I can get out of 1 yard or meter of fabric. So yeah, that's kind of my standard go-to lengths that I buy depending on what I think I might make out of it. Okay, I hope that answers some questions. So now you can dig in, create a color story for your module. You know, keep it to just a few colors. For instance, my spring one was navy blue, yellow, light blue, and white. So it's 4 colors. This next series that I'm doing is going to be white, navy blue again, so I can pull some stuff on, the baby blue, and then this kind of red color, this kind of a rosy red color. So again, 4 colors is what I'm sticking with. That way you don't get overwhelmed. And again, you can have multiple modules, so don't worry about restricting yourself to just 4 colors. All right, that's all I've got for today. Again, on Tuesday, you will have my Module 1 plans for my my first summer module, which will be this, what I just, you know, the light blue, navy, white, and this kind of rosy red color. And then you've got Sew My Style reveal on Friday. So that's all I've got for today. Again, leave any comments or questions down below, and I will get to them as soon as I can. And I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Bye.